The rise and fall of the Rakatan Infinite Empire, simplified. The Infinite Empire, also known as the Rakatan Empire, was one of the first galaxy-wide civilizations in Star Wars history. It was ruled by the Rakata, a highly advanced and brutal species from the planet Lehon. Using their deep knowledge of the Force and powerful technology, they conquered and enslaved many other species. For thousands of years, they ruled, but in 25,200 B, their empire collapsed due to internal wars, a deadly plague, and the loss of their connection to the Force. This downfall made way for the Galactic Republic to rise centuries later. The Rakata's rise to power. Long before their empire, the Rakata were visited by the Kwa, an ancient Force-sensitive reptilian species from Dathomir. The Kwa shared their Infinity Gate technology, which allowed instant travel across the galaxy, and they also introduced the Rakata to the Force. However, the Rakata were violent and ruthless, using the Force only for power and conquest, unlike the balanced teachings of the Kwa. Once the Rakata learned to harness the Force, they turned against the Kwa, stealing their technology and expanding their empire. They targeted Force-rich worlds, conquering them and enslaving their populations. The Rakata even developed machines powered by the dark side, where they trapped Force-sensitive slaves to fuel their warships. The Star Forge, the ultimate weapon. The Rakata's most powerful creation was the Star Forge, a massive space station that built warships using dark side energy. With the Star Forge, the Infinite Empire expanded rapidly, spreading across over 500 planets. One of their conquered worlds was Kashyyyk, where they installed a terraforming system to manipulate the forests. However, when the system failed, the famous Roshia trees started growing uncontrollably, creating the dense jungle world known in Star Wars today. The peak of the Infinite Empire. By 30,000 BBY, the Infinite Empire was at its height, ruling planets such as Korriban, home of the ancient Sith species, Dathomir, where they enslaved the Kwa and experimented with rancors, Coruscant, the future heart of the Galactic Republic, Belsavis, turned into a prison planet where the Rakata locked away dangerous beings, including the terrifying World Razor, a creature that supposedly consumed 1,000 worlds. The Rakata were cruel rulers, branding their slaves with Aurebesh letters to strip them of identity. They also trained Force Hounds, powerful dark-side warriors who tracked down new Force-rich planets for their masters. The Empire falls, civil war and plague. The Rakatan Empire began to crumble due to 3 major disasters. 1. A massive slave rebellion. Enslaved species united and fought back against their masters. 2. A deadly plague. A mysterious disease wiped out much of the Rakatan population. Some believe it was created by their slaves as a final act of defiance. 3. Loss of their connection to the Force. A mutation in the plague severed the Rakata's Force sensitivity, making them unable to use their advanced technology. With no Force abilities, no leadership, and their slaves rising against them, the Rakatan Empire collapsed. The remaining Rakata fought among themselves in a civil war that destroyed their cities and turned their once mighty civilization into small primitive tribes. Legacy of the Infinite Empire. Although the Rakatan Empire was erased from history, its influence lived on. Their hyperspace technology helped develop modern hyperdrives. The Star Forge remained one of the most feared weapons in galactic history. Planets they ruled, like Dathomir and Korriban, would become key locations in Sith history. By the time of the Jedi Civil War, the Rakata were mostly forgotten, their empire buried under centuries of history. But their brutal legacy as the first great conquerors of the galaxy still echoes in Star Wars lore. Why it matters. The Infinite Empire was one of the earliest galactic superpowers, using the Force in terrifying ways. Their rule shaped the future of many species, and their downfall showed that even the most powerful civilizations can destroy themselves through greed and war. Their story is a dark warning in Star Wars. The Force is powerful, but if used selfishly, it will lead to destruction.